I'm going to be introducing to you now something which was initiated some weeks ago by African Utility Week, and interestingly enough was echoed yesterday at the Water Indaba with all the different government officials. So those officials have decided to also institute a pledge. And this presentation will talk about how that pledge will work. And what we're planning to do after this is integrate that government pledge together with this. So before I go into the few slides, I want to let you know that tomorrow at 3 o'clock in room 3.3, there will be a facilitated session by Myrna Lewis from Deep Democracy, which really explores how to lower that waterline and get to the truth which is underneath all the opinions. And that will be looking at where do you spend your money? Where is the best place to spend your money? And that will be the place where we will have the CEOs from around the continent come and look at making a commitment to this pledge. That's why I wore the Vibram shoes, because you never know where you're going to have to spring. So the question we asked is, what if we had no access to clean, fresh water? And of course, we've discussed that flow being a value that we'd like to see embedded into ourselves, so that becomes the why. Why do we do that? And that becomes the shared value, is we want to join others in water action for a better planet. So this... Thanks. Technology always runs conferences, I notice. So making that pledge. What is this pledge? It's a pledge that we're inviting each of you to make of your time in the form of financial donations, resources, energy, and action to make a significant impact on water consumption and conservation. How the pledge will work is I've got some examples that have been seen by the Advisory Council here at African Utility Week. This is for individuals, say, for example, where you saw on a citizen application. But the main one is around organizations. And organizations will be asked to pledge to any one of these 7. And if there's one that you'd like to integrate, please add it in yourselves. But I just want to read them out one at a time. They've really gone through a process of distillation. And what is that pledge? It's a commitment. It's you as an individual or as an organization really making that commitment. Implement water saving and reduction mechanisms. We've heard a lot of that spoken about today. Use water fairly, sustainably, and in a manner that is economically beneficial. We also heard Gisela speak to the pricing. Donate or partner with NGOs working in water conservation, for example, the Genius of Space Project or others. And we're also inviting you to look at donating a percentage of your water bill, because the idea is that as you start to become more aware, so your water bill will go down. Number 4, contribute to projects that regenerate water resources. Number 5, increase dialogue and education around water quality, access, and conservation. We've heard a lot today about the importance of dialogue and collaboration and getting people to meet together. Then, of course, run your internal staff awareness campaigns, not like the cybersecurity campaign about with the Wi-Fi codes, but a little bit different. And then finally, number 7, invest in water stewardship, which I know is critical for all our organizations to be sustainable in the long term. How that's going to work is you can do it digitally. We know the power of Twitter. And then also in the expo, in the main hall, there is a graphic harvester. And they are going to listen to your pledges and then visually represent them there. So I invite you to do 2 things, please. 1, when you leave here, go down to the graphic harvester and give them your pledge and let them represent it in a visual form. And 2, if you could now take out your devices. I know none of you have been on your devices this whole morning, so take them out, please. Turn them on, because I know they were all on airplane mode. And then look back to the list. and see if one of those resonate in this moment. If you're on Twitter, please post it to Twitter. If you're not on Twitter, please put it in an email and send it to African Utility Week with the subject being #ForLoveOfWater. So I invite you to do that now. And then I'm going to ask you, please, to do one other thing. Could you do that for me now, please? Take a moment to look at these, take out your devices, and see if something hits you. Remembering that it's only through commitment, as Tebe reminded us, be aware of our promise that things can happen. And now I'd like you to take a moment and perhaps share that with the person next to you. Take a moment just to discuss a point that came up. If you haven't written it down yet, just take a moment to discuss one of those points, please. And if you haven't met them and you're meeting them for the first time, make an introduction to yourself, to each other, and where you're from. After all, it is about dialogue. And as you leave, please ensure that you go down to the expo hall and talk to the graphic harvester with your pledge. Okay, thank you very much. So it's about commitment. And I'd like to invite you to close this session to listen to this poem that was given to me when I was a young boy, and I'm sure many of you are familiar. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no man could have dreamed would come this way. Whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now. Thank you very much. That's W.H. Murray and Johann Wolfgang van Goethe. Have a great day. Take care.